on that too.
I need some dates from you so we can get it going.
If I made you come, it's because of whenever I've heard residential TIFs, those have been kind of a dirty word in this county, because obviously we have not, as in totality, had a problem with getting residential development. It comes. I mean, people want to live here, more rooftops, more density, people want to live here. What we've had a problem with sometimes is trying to get that commercial development here, and that's the essence of that balanced community. We can't be all residential rooftops, you gotta have businesses. So we've been, as a matter of fact, I can only think of one other time when we did a residential TIF, and that was a very special circumstance surrounding an EPA cleanup site that we had to try to get some movement on because you couldn't do anything there. And then, as a matter of fact, the developer wanted to pay taxes. And so there was one that I could think of, but it was like, why are we doing a residential TIF to try to encourage more rooftops when the free market is saying rooftops are coming, almost at an unprecedented rate?
Fair enough. How do I do this? Perfect.
You just hit the arrows.
There you go. Perfect. Commissioner, I think your feedback is fair. I wish that was the case in the great city of Franklin, though. In reality, we have not had a residential development of any substantial size in nearly 20 years. The city of Franklin's population, I haven't gone back far enough, but in 2 days, I'm going to be celebrating my 25th year with the city of Franklin, which is absolutely incredible to me. But in my time here, going back 4 census, so 40 years, the city of Franklin's population has remained virtually identical. And the reality is that now I have been in this city manager role for 5 years, and Carissa in the back and myself have been working very diligently on transforming this community. At the top of that is residential growth. Because we need retail and commercial expansion. We have about 600 acres of vacant industrial land that we are trying to capitalize and make projects come through, and all in a part of our vibrant downtown to bring an active lifestyle to our downtown in the areas that, quite frankly, are qualifying us for CDBG funding. We do get a lot of CDBG funding through you all, which we greatly appreciate. But I would also say, looking back, we have come to live on. We are only bringing in $12 million a year in income tax to operate the entire city of Franklin. That is up substantially from about $4.5 million, which was the levels up till 2011 when we passed a 0.5% income tax increase at that time. The nice part about that is most of that tax is paid by non-residents. We have more people come into the city to work than our residents that actually live there. So it's over 60% of that tax is paid by non-residents. Despite all of that, and despite the socioeconomic climate and conditions that we are struggling with in a lot of ways, the reality is that we have not been able to jumpstart that type of development. Franklin is in a different situation because we are mostly built out. We don't have large tracts of vacant residential land to develop. So this particular development, Shaker Farms, is I did odd things. Okay, anyway, we'll make it work. Shaker Farms is a 100-acre tract that was annexed into the city from the township. Now, we are a little unique in Warren County in that annexations do not have a negative impact on township residents because we are part of Franklin Township. We elect the fiscal officer and we elect our township trustees. So good development for us is good development for them as well. So that's a little bit different dynamic that typically exists. As a part of our annexation, we did remain and keep this all of Franklin Township, or all of the city of Franklin is in Franklin Township. All of our annexations will be that way as long as that is the system, and I know of no plan changes related to that at all. So as we look and grow, that is ultimately helping Franklin Township in ways that they aren't able to get things moving themselves. But this particular development is not directly connected to our existing utilities, so there is a pretty substantial infrastructure piece. It's about $20 million for this development to make that happen. We knew going into this that they needed support. This is actually our second fully developed development plan with a developer. Neither one of them could do the development on their own. And without this development, without these tools, we know very well that ultimately this project was not going to happen. So in order for us to, we really looked at three options, although I've introduced option 0 because option 0 is exactly what it means. No CRA, no TIF, the project isn't happening. They don't have the bonding capacity necessary to bring in the type of development that we are trying to bring forward. Now, I will say, as communities across the nation, really, in a lot of degrees, are looking for affordable housing, we have the opposite issue. We have affordable housing. We have those starter homes. That is what our community is made up of. What we need is the other end. We need higher end housing. We need the ability to step into a market that doesn't previously or otherwise exist for us. So as a result, as we look to demand a higher level of home, which demands a higher level sales price, and we're not talking unreasonable here, we're talking $350,000 to $500,000 homes. So for us, this is a massive change. But I think in the grand scheme of Warren County, still probably on the lower end of kind of the development that you're seeing that's out there, right? But in order for us to make that happen, we have to bring something to the table to get a high quality development in a untested market in homes that, quite frankly, were, before that, Krista homes and those kinds of mass produced type homes. We've had to create this. So we needed to leverage, there's a couple things going on in Franklin. Prior to this development, we had 4 CRAs. All of our CRAs are pre-1994. Great for developers, not very good for the community. 2 of those CRAs are 100% 15-year automatics. The other 2 we have options on. And so when we met with our friends from Bricker, Graydon now, and now Andy Brossart, who is a part of our team as well, we have developed a pretty sophisticated economic development tool strategy to leverage those pre-94 CRAs, establish a post-94 CRA. Our first one ever was with this Shaker Farms project, while recognizing that any and all development that is taking place has to take place with consideration of our school district, right? And so, again, our school district is struggling financially for sure, but we have to get this locomotive, we got to get this engine started somehow. And without rooftops, we're not going to get the commercial pieces that we need, right? And those rooftops need to have a higher degree of income than what we currently have. So this has been a calculated, strategic discussion. We have been in contact with the school board. We have been in direct contact multiple times with school administration, with our council, and obviously working with Andy Brossart and the team from Bricker, Caleb Bell, et cetera, to develop this strategy to get this started. And the entire purpose of this is to get this started, right? And so we know going in that the developer needed $5.4 million in bonding capacity. And so that was what our charge was, is to find the ability for them to find a mechanism to generate a bonding capacity of $5.4 million so that they could get this development off the ground and at the level that the city is looking for. The idea is that we want to get this started, prove that there is a market at this level. We have another development right on the heels of this development, happens to be called Shaker Meadows. If you don't think that's confusing, I got news for you. But we have these 2 developments. The Shaker Farms development is a 282 unit development. 40 of those are townhomes, the rest are single family, 50 and 60-foot frontage lots, so they're not large lots to begin with. The second development that's on our heels of this one, the Shaker Meadows, is another 119 units. And again, that one is not utilizing the CRA, that is not currently using a TIF. And basically our idea is working, okay? There's probably another development that we may need to look at a TIF, but again, that's going to be a significant infrastructure development deal, because again, the boundaries of our community are pretty much built out on the residential front. So when you look at extending water and sanitary sewer and storm and everything else like that, especially in this market, in this construction climate, those costs are extremely high. So because we don't have a deep financial capability within the municipal city of the Franklin, we need to look at these tools and partnerships with the port, et cetera, to make that happen. So kind of jumping forward, there were really three options. If you include option 0, which means the project doesn't happen, that's not great. But we balanced option 1, option 2, option 3. Currently, the city property tax revenue, no development, over that 30-year summary is going to generate about $30,000, so about $985 a year. For the school property tax, no development, it's $171,000. There is a CAUV abatement on that farmland up there. So in reality, they're bringing about $5,700 in a year on that tax. I'm sure you guys know this, but I will state for the record, they will continue to receive that regardless of the CRA, regardless of any of this other development. That is consistent dollars. Keeping in mind that we need where that yellow number is 5, well, it's 5. Something happened with the math when it got sent over. This should be $5.4 million because the option 2 75% CRA does provide the $5.4 million. All of the other numbers, oh, I know what it is. The arrow moved. No, it just didn't line up. The bonding capacity is the 5.4, that arrow should be down there because that's the target that we're supposed to be. Something just happened with the formatting. So what is important for us is recognizing that there's several things. Recognizing the school needs funding, right? Zero CRA, 0 TIF, et cetera, any of that development, they're not getting anything more than what the green and the blue line is. With this development, there's 3 options. Option 1, no CRA, that could bring in $37 million for the school district over those 30 years. Option 2, which is a 75% CRA. Option 2 is what we did do because they needed that $5.4 million in bonding capacity. They will receive $27,144,000 over those 30 years. In option 3, the 100% CRA is only $23,722,000. So important to note because the 100% CRA did not give them the bonding capacity they needed, only brought in $5 million rather than the 5.4. I say all of this because it is also important to note that we have instituted an NCA, New Community Authority Charge, $5 million charge for all development that is happening within the city, residential, industrial, commercial, downtown revitalization, all of that. The NCA is a part of that. So there are revenues that are going to be generated through this development in addition to that $27 million that will come to the school because of the non-school TIF. 15% of that CRA that we did not use, or I'm sorry, 25% of that CRA we did not use, the school will still receive their portion of that as well. So we're doing all of this in light of helping the school district because otherwise they would not be receiving this $27 million if this development didn't happen. Certainly it's not the $37 million, but because that first option only generates $2.8 million in bonding capacity, that project doesn't get off the ground. Additionally, the other thing that is very apparent in the city of Franklin is our overall property value. So when you talk about levies in the city of Franklin, it is extremely costly from a high percentage of millage necessary to generate revenue. So when I started in the city of Franklin and we did our first fire levy in 2002, 1 mil, obviously mills, $35 per 100,000, no matter where. 1 mil generated $240,000 in revenue in the city of Franklin in 2002. The next time we did a property tax for the fire levy was in 2012. That grew to $270,000 per mil. And now, as we look to do our third ever property tax fire levy, that now generates, because of the reappraisal that just took place, $340,000. Now, when I look at the city of Franklin and 1 mil, and we're doing a 4.9 mil, that's going to generate about $1,750,000 a year to operate that fire department. Operating the fire department is the same cost no matter what. Fire trucks cost, firefighter paramedics cost. But if I look to my friend Steve Agenbrod in Clear Creek, and I look at his 1 mil, again, still $35 per 100,000, 1 mil for them generates $1.5 million. And so when you look at where we're at, because we don't have the higher value.
You don't have the property tax valuation there, you just don't have it.
We don't have it. And it costs everybody more because of it. So when you look at what's gonna end up being $120 million additional value in this, following this one development, because again, the property's values are going up, and we're gonna do that again in the Shaker Meadows with 119. This is just simply a matter of, we have to get this motor started.
Chief, hate to cut you off, but you've answered the question. I mean,
Perfect.
I wish people were clear, again, hopefully you don't, mind us asking a question. because
Never.
the context-
I love questions.
Yeah, the context of what we had said, this is why we don't do these.
Yeah.
And that is not certainty, and so we asked, why did you do this? You just presented a very compelling case of why you just did it, and I actually agree with you.
I'm
Yeah.
stunned, I am stunned by, in 40 years, that your population hasn't increased.
Stagnant.
And when you think about, back in 85, Warren County had about 102,000 people. We're up 150% in 40 years. It's about 150-some thousand new residents over 40 years, and none of them are in the city of Franklin. Like, that's a demographic that is, I totally see where you're coming from. That's fascinating to me.
Yeah, and 100% justified. And again, I appreciate the fact you are taking care of the schools. It's not as much in a perfect scenario, but you're taking care of the schools, which is critically important. And hopefully, it's just by happenstance, you heard, literally, we didn't plan for you to be here. We're talking about trying to protect Franklin schools. I mean, even though we're not up there all the time, I mean, we literally try to help you guys out, like you said, through grant dollars and all that, as much as we can. So yeah, I 100% get it, 100% have no more questions, 100% hope this is super successful for you. And I do want to come up and see the new project, because yeah, this is actually kind of motivating us, I think, a little bit more of, okay, we certainly have some really good stuff going on in other parts of the county. You're a little different. So how do we maybe take our magic juice that seems to happen, everywhere else, and how do we maybe sprinkle a little bit more on Franklin and try to get you
And it
guys
sounds like the
going?
port has been a good tool for you.
Wonderful.
And that's really good to hear from our standpoint. I mean, that's what
100%.
we hope that the port would do, is to be able to be a tool for communities to get financing that perhaps they wouldn't otherwise be able to access. You have a great team around you,
100%.
with Andy and the Bricker team, so.
That was one of Martin's first deals, was the Franklin Yards way back when. That was close to 20 years ago. Yeah.
That's scary in of itself, 20 years ago.
Well, I remember it was when Ted Strickland was governor, because I was in the legislature, and we were to get that deal done, so.
Yeah, and I would just say, I think I shot you an email, just send me some dates and we'll figure out how we coordinate that, but yeah, to sit there and heighten
I
up.
love your farmer's market, by the way. We go every weekend, or did go in the summer every
Yeah.
weekend.
Actually, speaking of the farmer's market, and this is completely sidebar, but just while I have you here, is the group for the elderly services board that we are a part of through the Council on Aging. there are dollars that come down to seniors specifically to buy into the senior market. And one thing that the last meeting they said was, and I don't know that it's yours versus others, but they are having a struggle getting local farmers markets to kind of accept those and be more in that. So I asked them to give me a list, and I was gonna reach out to all city managers,
Yeah.
but just to let, since you're here, I'm just gonna say
Yeah.
it is, that really would help seniors because they get I'll call it a stipend to sit there and buy fresh produce.
Yeah, we're 100% for that.
Well, Mr. Westendorf, thank you for coming up.
All right, thank you all. It's good to
And
see
and
you.
who would have thought that what we did in the southern part of the county with the tennis tournament, hopefully is gonna have a direct benefit to you guys by us getting together and talking all we've done.
High tides rise all ships. So I'm all about it. Appreciate it.
All right,
Yes,
thank
sir.
you so much.
All right, thank you all.
Jonathan.
Okay, is there anything else today?
I don't have anything else.
Nothing? Anybody in the public who doesn't appear to be here want to talk?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Okay,
Second,
yes, thank you.
thank you.